Hi there. I am so glad that you were able to join me for a few minutes to talk about factoring, specifically the difference and sum of squares. So this is going to be a really quick tutorial on how to recognize and actually factor these. So the first thing is a difference or sum of squares is only two terms. Remember that a plus or minus separates terms. So number one, you can see that we have two terms. X squared is one term and 25 is another. A difference of squares, it's called a difference because it has a minus sign in the middle. And squares because both of them are perfect squares, meaning you can take the square root. The way you write a difference of squares, and there's a formula if you want it, a squared minus b squared factors into a plus b times a minus b. So let's look at an example with the numbers. Number one, x squared, the way you get x squared when you multiply is x times x. X times x is going to be x squared. So we're trying to divide this up, this polynomial, into two factors, meaning two things that multiply together to get that original polynomial. 25 is a perfect square, meaning I can take the square root and it's a nice whole number. 25, the square root of that is 5. Because 5 times 5 is 25. If I do 1 plus and 1 minus, I will multiply those two binomials to get back to x squared minus 25. So that's a difference of squares. And once you get used to these are pretty quick to factor. If you wanted to check, you could, and you would just check by multiplying it out. So x times x is x squared. X times negative 5 is negative 5x. 5 times x is positive 5x, and 5 times negative 5 is negative 25. Notice the middle two terms are opposites, so those cancel out, and just leave you the x squared minus 25. That's why in the binomials you have different signs, because that's what lets the middle two cancel. All right, let's look at the next one. So what you're looking for is, do I have two terms? Yes. Do I have a minus? Yes. Are both of the terms perfect squares? Yes. The square root of 4 is 2. The square root of 9 is 3. So perfect. So the square root of 4 is 2. And that's attached to the y squared. So it's going to be 2y times 2y. Different signs. It doesn't matter if you put the plus first or the minus first, as long as you have one of each. And then the square root of 9 is 3. 3 times 3 is 9. And that's it. You've just factored that. All right, number 3, 81z squared minus 1. It is two terms, so check. It's a subtraction, check. 81 is a perfect square, yeah, because the square root is 9. 1 is a perfect square, yeah, the square root is 1. So difference of squares. So 81z squared will break into 9z, 9z, 1 plus 1 minus, and then the square root of 1 is 1, so 1 and 1. That's it. All right, number 4. This one is really easy to make a mistake. So if we go through what we just did, are there two terms? Yes. Are they both perfect squares? Yes. 9 is 3 and 81 is 9. So I would be happy and I would do my two parentheses. Square root of 9 is 3, so 3x and 3x. Square root of 81 is 9, so 9 and 9. 1 plus 1 minus. But if you've watched some of my earlier videos, or if you just have experience with factoring, you know that you should always look to see if there's a greatest common factor before you do anything else. And so while my answer is correct, it is factored, it's not factored completely. Because notice inside the parentheses, they still have something in common. 3 and 9 could both be divided by 3. And so you might lose some points on this one, right? Because you didn't factor completely. So let's see if we can kind of rewind this and what we could do. Do you see that the 9 and the 81 both have a 9 in common, meaning I could divide out a 9? that is what I need to do first in order to factor completely. So note to self, always look for the GCF, meaning greatest common factor, first. That should always be your first step. And I have a really bad habit of forgetting to do that. So sometimes I will catch it at the end when I'm looking at my factors and I see, oh no, that factor still has something in common. So here I'm going to factor out a 9. Remember what that means is you're dividing out a 9 from each of those terms, and then you write that down in open parentheses and say what you would have left if you divided by 9. So the 9's would cancel and just leave me x squared, and then 81 divided by 9 is 9, so minus 9. So that's the first step, factoring out the GCF. And then I'm going to look and see in the parentheses, can I factor that again? So now in the parentheses, I have 2 terms, it's still a minus, and I still have perfect squares. So I can factor that again. So I'm going to bring that 9 down in the front, and then I have a difference of squares. X squared breaks apart into x and x. 1 plus 1 minus. The square root of 9 is 3. Now that's factored completely. So while I had a correct factorization the first time I did it, it wasn't factored completely because I still had common factors within both of the factors that I had. Now that's going to get you full credit. All right. So I think, yep, these are the last two. So x squared plus 25. So does it have 2 terms? Yes. Is it a minus? No, this is a plus. So this is a sum of squares. Okay, so this is a plus, making it a sum. And it is squares, right? They are still square roots. 25 is a perfect square. X squared is a perfect square. Great. You would think that this is factorable. So you might say, hey, I think this is x plus 5 times x plus 5. Okay. Well, let's see what happens if I FOIL it out. X times x is x squared. X times 5 is 5x. 5 times x is 5x. And 5 times 5 is 25. Notice the middle 2 terms do not cancel. They add up. So I'm going to have an x squared plus 10x plus 25. And this 10x messes it up. This is not the same as what I had originally. So that does not factor that way. You say, okay, I'm going to make an adjustment. I'm going to say that then it's x plus 5, x minus 5. Well, let's see what happens. We have x squared minus 5x, right? Because I'm checking it, plus 5x. Well, that's good. Minus 25. So now the middle 2 do cancel, but I've got a minus, and I didn't want a minus 25. I wanted a plus 25. No good. No matter what you do here, you are not going to be able to factor this using real numbers. So this is it. Not factorable. This is such a common mistake. So I often put one of these on the test, and I would say at least half the class will get it wrong. Even though I go over it, people are just convinced that you can factor it. So please make a note. You cannot factor a sum of squares if you're only using real numbers. Okay? So not factorable. All right, let's look at number 6. 2 terms, yes. Oh, but it's a plus. So you might automatically think, oh, I'm not falling for this trick. It's not factorable. Well, guess what? You just fell for another trick, because don't forget the first thing you need to do. Look for GCF. Okay, if you're looking for a GCF, you want to make sure if the first term is negative, you divide out or factor out a negative. So both of these have a 4 in common, and both of them have an x in common. And since the first term, the leading term, is negative, I'm going to divide out a negative 4x. And I'm going to see what that leaves me. So the negatives, 4's cancel. X cubed divided by x. I simply subtract the exponents. So 3 minus 1 is 2. So x squared is left. And then 16 divided by negative 4 is a negative 4. The x's cancel. Okay, notice since I divided out that negative, now in the parentheses, I do have a minus. So now I have a difference of squares, and I can factor that again. So remember to look for a GCF, okay? And remember that a sum of squares is not factorable. So two kind of tricks to this section. So bring down the negative 4x. X squared minus 4 is a difference of squares. So I'm going to break that apart into x times x, 1 plus 1 minus, and then the square root of 4 is 2. So 2 and 2. And that would be the answer to that one. I hope you found this helpful. Please let me know if you have questions.